Are you ready?
Sorry, I'm just changing you position. Here we go. Yeah, cool. Ready.
Cool. Okay. Welcome to the 4-Point Play podcast. This is Alberto, Italian from the Philippines. And online we have Samy, French from Melbourne. How are you, mate?
I am good. Great.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. The 4-Point Play podcast. Two friends, two mates. We met in Melbourne, both from Europe, obviously. And, our friendship was so important and we couldn't be afar from each other discussing basketball that we decided to come out with this podcast where we discuss 3
and 1
topics every single week. Man, how are you? How was your basketball week? How's LeBron? Is he okay? I'm worried, dude.
LeBron is chilling. He had the 36-point game, I think, today or yesterday, for US listeners. Yeah, look, I actually watched a few games. I really feel like we're in the dog days of the NBA, where kind of like you could almost say that the playoffs are already set. You may still have a few teams battling for position, but it's like there's not much more surprise, and it's just like we're grinding out the end of the season, and everyone is kind of looking forward to the playoffs starting, which is, I guess, maybe possibly another argument to reduce the season to 70 games, eh?
Yeah, that could be an idea if you can convince the owners to lose a lot of money on on tickets, merchandising, and whatnot. But regardless, that's not going to be one of my topics. One of my topics actually regards one of my favorite players back when I actually lived in Barcelona, and that's Isiah Thomas from the Denver Nuggets. Not only until last night, he had played no more than 60 minutes in each of his last 5 games. But what also happened is last night, Michael Malone said, he had a private conversation with Isiah, and he removed him from the rotation. That's a tough decision, obviously, for him, for the player, for the Nuggets. But the Nuggets are playing so well right now, and Montemoris is doing such a great job that obviously that has complicated things for Isiah Thomas. And guess what? They're going to Boston next week. Who knows if he's gonna play? But my question to you for the week is, what's gonna happen to Isiah? Like, just to remind everyone about Isiah Thomas in 2016, 2017, he played an amazing series. Amazing season with the Celtics, and then he played really well in the playoffs. He also overcame the death of his younger sister, who died in a car accident. And then he got injured, so he missed out on a big contract and whatnot. He got traded to Cleveland. He got released by Cleveland as well. Went to the Lakers. What's going to happen to this really good talent?
Well, look, I think he's in not a great place right now, just in terms of opportunities. I think it was great of Denver to try and integrate him. I think, unfortunately, the experiment didn't work out for him. I think the challenge for Denver was that they developed a really good chemistry. And in a way, I think some of their struggles recently, because I think they've lost 3 of the last 4 games or something like that, could be attributed to new or existing players getting back into the rotation, whether it's Isiah, whether it's Gary Harris, whether it's Will Barton. And obviously they're not going to quit on Gary Harris or Will Barton. I think they're a big part of what they envisage will be their future. But Isiah was possibly the easiest piece to say, look, it hasn't worked out. We're going to go back to what's been working out. For him personally, all I can wish for Isiah is that he may have somewhere, somehow, renaissance season like Derrick Rose just had this season. I think that he certainly showed that he had enormous offensive talent in Boston. I think that he, with the right body, he can still destroy a lot of defenses. It's always going to be a challenge for him in defense, because he's the smallest dude on the court, and the teams these days are smarter about exploiting matchups and basically finding the weak link. It's not like Muggsy Bogues back in the days, I guess, who could possibly probably hide on a weak player, and he would just be out of the defensive scheme. So it's going to be a little bit harder for Isiah, especially when the games matter. If he joins in the future another team with playoff aspirations.
Yeah, can you give me kind
who
of
knows?
a profile?
It may also be his.
Can you give me kind of a profile?
I was going to say it may also be his last season in the NBA. Unfortunately,
Wow.
A friend of mine was joking that his next stop is China, and he could certainly have a great career in China. I hope not. I think he really wants to play and achieve great things in the NBA. I don't think any organization will bring him the Brinks truck that he wants to play in the NBA. But I think he may have a chance to possibly be a good rotation player, like a backup point guard somewhere. The Magic could use a point guard. The Magic could use a veteran to train Fools. So maybe that's
I think
a solution.
that right now his next contract is going to be with a team that sits in between, kind of playoff contention or playoff hopes to the lottery. That's what's going to happen. That's the best case scenario for Isiah Thomas next year, in my point of view. He's not like a playoff team rotation player, in my point of view. But we'll see next year. It's gonna be a very interesting free agency. But my second question to you, it doesn't actually regard free agency, but it still regards next year. I'm going to talk about the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings, who have had quite a poor record since Buddy Hield actually said, "I'm going to bet my house that we're going to the playoffs." But it looks like they're not going to make the playoffs this year. But man,
who bet on his house? Who's going to get the house?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like a silly bet. But honestly, what a season for the Sacramento Kings. Everyone was making fun of them when they traded for Buddy Hield, when they traded DeMarcus Cousins. Everyone's making fun of them for picking in the draft Marvin Bagley. But great season. They have a lot of cap space. But in my question to you today is, what is their next move? Are they going to try to sign a big free agent, or Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes? They're going to try to develop it internally. Harrison Barnes, let's remember, he only has one more year in Sacramento. So next year, and then he's a free agent. But do you think that, like for Golden State didn't go out of the way to sign a big free agent? They said, "Hey, we have Klay Thompson, we have Steph Curry. We don't need to buy anyone else, because we also have these very nice, from a basketball point of view, very crazy from a character point of view, player called Draymond Green that we can develop."
I think at the time they also signed Iguodala, who was their big free agent signing, and I mean, as big as.
Yeah, but they signed Iguodala when they already played, I believe, their first playoff series against the Spurs. If I'm not wrong, I might be wrong.
Possibly, I'm not sure. But I think in terms of growth and development, they're kind of at the same stage that the Kings are right now. Look, I think that this is something that the front office will explore. Certainly, I think they have. I don't think there's a bad decision either way. I think if they get an offer on the table where they can get a big free agent for maybe one or two of their young, promising players, I think they look at this seriously and say, okay, does that get us in true contention as a strong contending player next year? Say, they're going to have, I think, a fair bit of cap space next year. Say for whatever reason, I highly doubt this will happen, but Kevin Durant says, yeah, I'm signing with Sacramento. I don't think you're the Kings and you say, look, you know what? You may screw up our current roster, so we're not going to sign you. Of course, they're going to sign him. So I think they look at it and certainly they bring him on and they integrate him on the roster. But they could also look the other way and say, well, no, we're just going to keep focus on what we're doing. We might bring some veteran guys in the locker room to help support the growth of these young players. And we believe that we can bring the next superstar from De'Aaron Fox, Hield, Bogdanovic, Bagley, or one of these guys. I think Fox, to me, is the most promising talent on the Kings.
Okay.
I think he has very strong potential, and behind I would put Marvin Bagley.
That's what I was going to ask you. Who's the one that you would put all of your hopes in? But you said De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
I'm very I'm stoked to see Marvin Bagley, but I really hope he's not injury prone, because
What makes you say that?
Well, he had quite a couple of minor injuries here and there, and it's already his first year. I hope that's not the case, but hey, let's wait, man. Let's wait and hope for the best. But the Kings are definitely like an interesting team, and they were fun to watch this year, and I definitely look forward to seeing their development next year.
Yeah.
But things have to fall in place, and the Warriors were also kind of lucky, and they did the right decision when they didn't trade Klay Thompson for Kevin Love as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if I think right, it's very possible that the Kings get a similar offer to like a big free agent or big contract, big name for one of their young studs. And I think they'll have to look at it closely. Look, there can be a lot of what if. Maybe Kevin Love with the Warriors may, fast track their first championship or put them in contention earlier, or maybe it would have been a total disaster. I don't think we can say what would have happened if Love would have signed with the Warriors. And I think the same thing can be said for the Kings. I think as well that I was just listening. There was a very nice podcast with Doug Christie, who is now NBA commentator for the Kings and obviously a former Kings guard, who was saying, in a way, the Kings are 1 year ahead of their schedule. No one was anticipating them to be where they are this year right now. So they're 1 year ahead, meaning there's probably going to be high expectations for next year. But that shouldn't derail them from seeing that they're just 1 year ahead, and they should capitalize on that and continue their development, as opposed to say, okay, well, our window is now, we need to, get big free agents or get, big contracts in and go all in right now. No, actually, you're just 1 year ahead and you still have a lot of time. All your young guys are young and still have time to develop and grow into something even bigger than what they are right now. So let's just give it time.
Makes sense.
Even if Buddy Hield lied on his age and he's older than what he said, so maybe he's already 36 and he's not telling us.
Man, the Western Conference is gonna be fun next year again. Like Porzingis is actually going to do his first 5-on-5 tomorrow.
Easy! Wow.
Yeah, some people say, hey, he might actually play a couple of games before the end of the season, but you don't want to risk it.
The Mavs said that he wouldn't play. I don't think he will play.
Yeah. I don't think he will play, but
maybe in scrimmage.
Yeah, maybe practice. Practice for sure. He starts tomorrow.
I'm already excited for next season. He hasn't, this season is not even over. I'm excited for next season.
Yeah, man. With the third topic of the day, no
technical foul today?
No technical foul. I'm going to break it down into 3 different questions because it's something that has actually developed over the last couple of years, something that's happening quite a lot. And I'm going to discuss the interactions between NBA professionals, as in players, coaches, managers, general managers, owners, and whatnot, and the fans. Obviously, all of our followers know what happened yesterday. One of the Utah Jazz fans told Russell Westbrook literally to go down on your knees like you used to, which is a very racist thing to say. Matt Barnes, I think a year ago, actually said that Utah was the most racist crowd he ever played for into brackets. But anyway, my question to you regards the relationship between the players and the fans, regards what the relationship between the fans and the NBA code of conduct, and obviously the third question is going to regard the relationship between the fans and the owners, because what recently happened is Dolan, the New York Knicks owner, actually banned for life a fan that told him to sell in the team for life. And on Reddit, people are actually are organizing to get like a massive chant for the Madison Square Garden. I think on Sunday, that's when they play the next game at home, saying, sell the team, sell that team. If you're gonna ban everyone. But anyway, man, let's try to organize my three questions. From what can the NBA do with the fans more than the code of conduct? Obviously, you can't screen them, when they walk into the arena. Hey, are you racist? Hey, are you not racist? Hey, are you an asshole? Are you sure? Do you want to sign the code of conduct? Or what's going to happen? Like, is Adam Silver going to work on a kind of a stricter training from, all of those assistants, or how do you say, like personnel that protect the players during the game? What do you think?
Well, I think there's many ways you can tackle this. It's funny. I was reading about the fan heckling Westbrook and his response, and the fact that some Utah Jazz players came in support of Westbrook and said, like, no one should ever say that to Russ, and even if like we compete against him quite often, and he is who he is, and there's been not necessarily fights, but certainly intensity in the way they compete. No fan should ever say that to Russell Westbrook, and like both Mitchell and Gobert coming up and saying, we have your back. So I thought that was interesting. I think they're not going to screen everyone coming in, as you said. I think the way they currently approach it, which is dealing with the incident, is good. So the team owners or whoever is responsible for the court and the players indeed look at who the player is, investigate what happened. They ask questions about not just the player to hear his side of the story, but also people surrounding in the arena and saying, well, what did you hear? And what did he actually say? And then to corrective action, I think decided indeed to ban the guy from attending games. I think that's good in terms of reacting to an incident. I think where the league could do better would be around, I guess, promoting a culture of respect between the fans and the players. So promoting the culture to say, look, this is, the people are real people, and you wouldn't heckle a guy like that just in the street or push him if he walks past you or anything like that. And I think there is some what's the word?
Resentment?
No. I was going to say that there's some work that the league can do on the how they give this message out to the fans to say this is not appropriate, this is not okay. Kind of like the same way they have been promoting, I don't know, like NBA cares or what the players do outside. I think they can look at the narrative and the message that they send to fans.
That also covers my second question. So what can the NBA do with the players? Obviously, right now, social media is a massive thing. So the players are on social media all the time. They receive hate all the time. They get recorded all the time, and they lose their shit all the time. Like, look at Russell Westbrook, look at Kevin Durant, even Steve Kerr recently. What can the NBA, are they just gonna keep on fining them between 25 and 50K, which is like $5 for me and for you?
Well, I think, again, you look at who's responsible for it. So social media, and the media in general reports these because fans, us, people who consume NBA, probably, even if maybe not you and I, but people demand, request this kind of thing. They want to know about these conversations and what Steve Kerr actually said to Draymond Green, and what did Westbrook respond to this fan who was talking to him and lip reading, etc. So I think the media has the NBA has some education to do as well with not only the players but the teams and possibly the media as well, to say, look, maybe it's not okay to cover these things because it creates unnecessary tension about what might just be sometimes normal. So,
but it increases visits to a website.
Exactly. So
they don't
any
care.
increased clicks, and the NBA is an entertainment product, so they want to continue, selling this as well. So they're not going to suddenly stop and say, well, that's it, no more trade rumors. We don't want to talk about trades anymore, or no more. What did Kyrie say to Kevin Durant in the
by the way, Kyrie
locker
needs
room
to
or whatever?
shut the F down. Like, are you serious, dude? Are you gonna complain because you didn't want the attention by the NBA when you were the guy having like Uncle Drew last summer? And that was like, I think Kyrie is lost. I think he's lost. But sorry, going back to my question regarding what the owners can actually do, like ban for life someone for just having an opinion.
Well, I think that's where, again, I mean, how much power do you give the league to overrule these things? Ultimately, the team owners have these rights to do that. Now, I think if I am Adam Silver, I would start seriously looking into the ownership of the New York Knicks and the behavior of Dolan over the last couple of years, and seeing if this is indeed appropriate. And maybe as the NBA, you can find the owner for taking inappropriate actions. Whether or not the owner wants to ban a fan for life, we don't necessarily know everything that he said. This is, again, what was reported. Should it have been reported? Possibly yes, maybe no. Like, these kind of things are things that maybe the league can look into and decide what against corrective actions they want to take against the owner if that was not appropriate.
Yeah.
But you can't necessarily control everything either. So you have to trust that. And again, maybe this goes back to how do you educate your team owners about how to interact with fans, and how in this day and age they are much closer and invested in the teams, even if they have nothing to, no actual stakes in the team, if they have no ownership or anything. They
Fair
just
enough. I like your
I guess we're fans,
answer.
The teams belong to us.
Yeah. All right, man. All right. So I did get fouled again.
Yeah, my fourth topic. Well, I was going to bring a big topic, but in light of the recent your third topic, and I think this was a heavy conversation. Let's bring it back to something a little bit more fun. During the Lakers Boston game, which happened a few days ago, which was on ESPN or TNT, anyway, on some national TV. Jeff Van Gundy, who was one of the commentators, was discussing, and I don't know if you've seen it, about what the Lakers' future is going to be, and basically brought up the topic to say, well, if I'm Lakers management, I'm looking at, possibly everyone is tradable. And he opened the door by saying, well, he opened a big can of worms, which started a big conversation about even LeBron James. Now, my question to you is very simple. If you were Lakers management, would you actually consider trading LeBron James?
I don't think Magic and the
Pelinka,
yeah, sorry, actually are that smart to consider the option. Me, I would, and I would actually consider that as the worst case scenario, because I need to make the Lakers better. It's been the fifth year in a row that the Lakers are not going to play the playoffs, and after acquiring the best player in the world, they're still not going to make the playoffs. They actually have a similar, quite a same record as last year. What happened? Injuries. injuries, and for the first time, LeBron is playing the Western Conference. My question is, did you know this at the beginning? When you actually acquired LeBron, did you know that LeBron within those 4 years was going towards his fitness level, or I mean, it's modern nature, dude. The dude is really good, but at the end of the day, everyone's aging. So there was a big bet by the Lakers. If I were the Lakers, I would do anything in order to go to the playoffs and finish in the top 4 next year. But no fucking way I'm gonna trade LeBron. But if there's a chance to get a top player, young, someone who has playoff experience, someone who's willing to play for the Lakers, and at the same time I get Anthony Davis, I get to keep my young core, I'll consider it.
All right, let's entertain the idea then. What package makes you trade LeBron James? It can be any player from any team. Let's be unrealistic.
And let's tell our followers that obviously there's no salary cap in our ideas.
Well, LeBron has the biggest salary, so it's going to take a few players.
The Denver Nuggets are going to say, "Oh, hey guys, we're going to give it to you for Jamal Murray and Jokic."
There is no way I'm trading LeBron for Jamal and Jokic. As good as Jokic is, and as much as I love him,
but they're young. They're young, and they're going to get playoff experience this year. And you're going to be sorry, I'm playing this scenario under the assumption that they're going to get Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
So somehow, if the Lakers get to keep their young core, and somehow, I don't know how, the Nuggets say, "Hey, we just want LeBron. It's fine. And we want your first pick of this year because we are crazy." Cool. If Portland still gets swept in the first round and they say, "Hey, we can give you Lillard, it's yours."
I'm not doing a swap LeBron for Lillard.
I know, dude, but next year is gonna be 35 or 36.
I absolutely I agree, and I think one of the challenge that I would put back to you is LeBron still the best player in the NBA? I think that's a legitimate question to ask today.
If he was to play in the Eastern Conference, yes, it would. In a conference where you have to play hard every single night, where you have to earn every single win. Think about the Cavaliers in the last 3 or 4 years since LeBron joined. He took a 20 game break, and then last year they didn't even play pretty much the regular season, and then just beat. You can't do that in the Western Conference. You can't do that. But still, before LeBron's injury, they were 4th or 5th, and they actually beat Golden State at home. But you cannot avoid thinking about the injuries. You cannot avoid thinking about LeBron aging. In Game 7 or whatnot, there's only one thing that I would take over LeBron, and that's the Golden State Warriors, which are probably going to be dismantled next year. So I wouldn't be surprised, and now I'm going to say it, to see the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals next year.
Next year? Wow.
Next year.
So you think AD is signing with the Lakers over the summer?
Regardless, dude. If they get Lonzo Ball back.
That's a big, bold statement. I don't see them being in the Western Conference Finals
we'll
next
see,
year.
Man. We'll see. Next year.
You'll be Denver, Sacramento.
Where's KD going? Are they going to get... Maybe they'll get a Phil Jackson kind of coach. Maybe they get Blatt and he shuts LeBron's mouth, and or a really good player. Please no Mark Jackson, because otherwise I doubt they're gonna make the playoffs again. But if you want a bold prediction, that's it. Like you
I think this might be the best case scenario, or the very hypothetical case scenario, but I just don't see it happening with just such a big turnaround of events. The West is so loaded. OKC is not going anywhere. Houston is not going anywhere. The Warriors, even if they lose Durant, they're still going to be very strong. They may lose even another player. They're still going to be quite strong and competitive. I mean, it's going to be really tough even with Anthony Davis, I think, with the Lakers. And unfortunately, on top of that, I just don't think that the Lakers management are are
Smart,
ready to are just ready to do what it needs, what it takes to be in contention. I think they still unfortunately rely on, well, we're the Lakers, everyone wants to play for us.
All
And
right,
I
dude.
think
That
that
was a bold prediction. So let me
too late.
rephrase that.
I'm gonna write it
Western
down.
Conference semifinals. All right, man.
Let's just have them qualify for the playoffs first, and then
Yeah.
we can see.
Cool, man. That was it for the week. 4 great topics. Thanks a lot, as usual, for discussing that with me. Thanks a lot for our weekly podcast. Congratulations, a round of applause for us, because this is episode 20.
Whoa!
I'm proud of us, dude. Very well
We're gonna
done.
make it through a full season, I think.
Yes, and I think we are going to soon reach 750 listens, which I'm super proud of. Very happy. Thanks a lot to all of our followers. As you know, you can find us on iTunes, on Spotify, on Google Podcast, and where else, Samy?
That's it. That's pretty
That's
good.
it.
You're right
Cool.
on. It just took you 5
Right on.
episodes.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Samy, for this great discussion. I look forward to you hosting the podcast next week, and the one after. I'm going to be in Australia, so I look forward to my
Woohoo!
plan, to my trip.
Looking forward to having a live podcast in Australia. Hopefully, we can actually meet, because Australia is a big country. For those of you who don't know, before we go, do you have one final question for me?
I do have a final question for you. Do you want me to ask you?
I thought you had forgotten, but yes, please go ahead.
Dude, I totally forgot. I'm trying to come up with it. Who's going to be Chicago's top scorer next year?
Lavin.
Ooh, no Markkanen. All right.
No
Cool.
Markkanen. I gave it a deep thought, or maybe they signed someone, but I think it's going to be Lavin.
All right, man. That's it for the week. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, and I'll speak to you next week.
Talk to you next week. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Cool, man. I totally forgot.